All right, let's talk a little bit about building a massive back. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. Again, this is an area to where a lot of people are like, wow, you have crazy back development. How have you pulled this off? You're almost 50 years old and your back looks like that. So let's talk about it. All right, as far as back development goes, yes, I do use a couple of smaller things at this point, but for the most part, my back has been built on the basics. All right, deadlifts, pull-ups, rows. Right, deadlifts, pull-ups, rows, and I do feel that that's all that most people really need for overall back development. Now, obviously, the deadlift kind of has its own place in there, and I don't think it necessarily is going to build you the biggest lats. I find weighted pull-ups, weighted chin-ups are the best thing for building lats, right? In this case, of course, I've gone over to all chin-ups and supine grip rows, so that's kind of what I have in the footage, because quite frankly, my back has gotten big enough in proportion to everything else that I just need more arms, right? These movements have been so effective for me in achieving this, right? They've been so effective. There you go. See the lat spread. They've been so effective in achieving this that I don't even need to put that much focus in it. I can literally let these other muscles become a higher priority. But of course, you guys also see, I'm over 200 pounds, and yet I do sets of 10 with a 45 on chin-ups. So we're in a good place there. But number one, like if you want the wide back, like you want big, wide lats, you want a V-taper. Obviously, now you need to diet to be lean enough to have a V-taper, right? That's kind of important. But pull-ups, any variation of pull-ups. And the trick to doing them is what? Right? The stretch at the bottom. Everyone gets obsessed when they start talking pull-ups and chin-ups. Like, you give people a lat pull down, and guess what? Like, they get the idea, right? That's the only, I think, one of the perks of the lat pull down. People understand it's a lat exercise. Okay? They understand that, and therefore they'll pull it just till their scapula are together, and they'll stretch at the top. What do? They reach up, they stretch all the way up. Okay? They spread the scapula, which is what you need, and then what do? They bring it down until their scapula pull together, and they don't worry about, do I have to swing it all the way under and get my chin over it? No, because they're trying to build their back. So, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing your chins that other way, but understand you're doing that to try to do the chin up. You're not doing that to work the back. And in fact, once the shoulder blades touch, any further movement you swing over is using other muscles, not really your back is not really a concern at that point. So again, maybe a waste of effort, quite frankly. Just get really good at making sure that you go high enough that your scapula touch, and make sure that they spread apart at the bottom. All right, spread apart at the bottom. All right, rows, number two. Rows are what make you thick. Same idea here, though. Notice I stretch at the very bottom. Like, we don't resist it, and we make sure the elbows lock. We get a stretch, bring it up to the chest. The same people, you guys ever notice the same people who will talk about, oh, we need a complete range of motion on a pull-up or a chin-up, they don't do it on rows. They swing it to their hip, they swing it to their stomach, whether it's a dumbbell, barbell. And then they wonder why their upper back and their mid-traps and all that stuff isn't developed. Okay? Or, again, they don't lock it at the bottom. They get way too upright. They turn it into just a trap exercise. Okay? That stretch at the bottom, getting those scapula apart, matters. Absolutely matters on a row. Okay? More so than how much weight you move. And I don't have a problem with people strapping up and doing cheat rows, but understand it may not be doing much really extra for your back. It's kind of one of those movements where, and I've done that. You guys have seen me rep out 315 when I put straps on, but is my back any bigger? No. I can do 185 for sets of 10 to 12, strict, controlled, build my back. Now, I'd like to kind of get that up. I'd kind of like to be able to do those as strict with 225, Probably help my arms too. But again, I digress. Back over to the point of that. Seal rows are great too, though. For people who struggle with the too much cheating on them, mess with some seal rows. I can do them strict, so I don't worry about it. I don't worry about it a great deal. But I've done a lot of seal rows in the past, chest supported rows. I like inverted rows. I like dumbbell rows. but just row, right? And I mean, look, even if you want to just strap up and go heavy and cheat and swing, as long as you still get strong at that and you get the stretch at the bottom, you're still going to build a big back, right? Any way you break it down, back is still going to be pretty dang big, right? But just making the case for the other because of the axial loading of the T, because if we're already deadlifting and stuff, you know. All right, but let's talk about the deadlift for a moment. Deadlift really adds that density to your back. Adds another degree of thickness because it builds the erectors, right? Big, heavy deadlifts builds the erectors of the low back, builds those erectors in that middle back, builds the traps, okay? It adds another plane of thickness and density, okay? It is what helps make that back pop and be a little more three-dimensional. I'm a big fan of deadlifts. Of course, you guys have seen me pull at the most 635. Yeah, I know I was just doing rep work at 515 there. But you guys have seen me pull 635 when I was at my strongest. You know, and now that I've started doing more bodybuilding, I've had some other coaches chime in and mention that. They're like, yeah, that's what happens when a 635 deadlifter cuts down. All right. As far as other finishing touches go, rear delts and neck work. Rear delts, you saw me doing the rear delt flies. All right, rear delts, rhomboids, things like that. A little bit of a rear delt isolation is not a bad idea. I'm not saying you need much of it. I do 3 sets a week. That's it. 3 sets of it. But get in doing a little bit. If you just want those complete details, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. It will help just finish those fine details over at the sides, that upper back area. It'll help fill all of that out a little bit. And then you see me doing some neck work here too, the neck extensions. Now, is the neck technically really back? No, but will it help finish out the upper traps? Because if you look, and again, EMG studies aren't the be-all, end-all by any means. I want to be clear on that. Some potential flawed methodology. But what have we seen in them? They seem to work the upper traps just as well as a shrug did. In one of the EMG studies I saw, they're a great upper trap exercise. They'll really help tie that neck all into to the upper back and shoulders. And again, if you're just trying to get that last bit of complete look, it's right up there with the the rear delt flies. Okay, it's right up there. But what are our staples? I'm going to say pull-ups. Okay, pull-ups, rows, deadlifts. You get good at all of those, and then you can worry about all these little finishing touches, because those are what's going to really build your back, and you need to get very, very strong at them. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.